Welcome back to another tutorial. So if you are seeing my video for the first time, my name is Tolulope. So today we are making this off shoulder blouse with a ruched sleeve. So the first thing I did is to draw out my guideline, which is the shoulder. So from my shoulder I measure to my armhole. To know your armhole, you need to divide your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So from there to my bust point, and from there to my under bust, and to the full length of my blouse. So I'm not going to be making use of the upper part. So I'll just remove like 6 inches from my starting point. So that will be for the off shoulder part of this dress. So I will not need that shoulder point, just to be like a guide. I'm going to be making. I'm going to mark out my shoulders, then mark out the armhole, so we will not get confused. So I'm just going to draw out my armhole. Here I'm measuring my bust circumference. So from there I'll connect the 3 points together, like so, from my shoulder slope to the midpoint, and from there to the bust circumference. Remember, this is an off shoulder dress. So I remove 6 inches from there. So the second line here you are seeing at the upper part, from that midline of the armhole, is my starting point. That is the chest line. So the next thing I did is I measured my nipple to nipple. I marked it on my nipple point, my underbust, and my waistline up to my blouse length, and I connected all of this into a straight line. So that being done, so to take my dart, my underbust dart, I will need to minus whatever I have on my bust circumference minus my underbust. Anything you get, divide it by 2, and that will be your bust dart. So on the center part, you are going to take half, and the other side, which is the side, you are going to be taking the larger portion. Assuming your bust circumference, sorry, your under bust that is 2.5. You take half on this side, and you take the remaining 2 on the other side. So at the upper bust, for my upper bust tightening, I am going to be taking 1 inch on this side, on the armhole side, and the other side I took about 0.75 inches. I'll connect all of this to meet my nipple point, and from there I'm going to be connecting. So I'll connect it back to meet the blouse length at the waistline, from the waistline up to that to the blouse length. So after that, I'll measure my bust circumference, which I've already measured. Then I'll also the dart I'll be taking at the upper part. I'll replace it so I will not run shortage of fabric. Then I add my normal sewing allowance. I'll come to the under bust. I also repeat the same thing. My under bust circumference divided by 4 plus my allowance, and on the waist I'll also add my dart and my sewing allowance. So I'll come to the hip point. I use my hip circumference divided by 4 plus my sewing allowance. So I'll connect all the dots into a straight line. So at this edge, at the hemline, I will go up by, let's say, 2 inches or 1 inch. But before then, I want it to open up a little bit at the hemline. So I try to add a little bit, like 2 inches extra. I'm sorry guys, that part is not showing. So what I will do is I want it to have like a little bit, not really sweetheart, not just a little bit sweetheart at that part. It's not that deep. So from the neckline, and I'll connect it like this. Just what you have been doing it. I'll blend it back to my armhole line. So this is what the front pattern is going to be looking like when you are done. So the next thing I'll do is to cut it out. So don't forget to blend it back into the blouse length at this part after you add 2 inches extra to the down part. So the next thing I did is to place it on my back pattern and I cut it out. So I left my zipper allowance of about 2 inches. So I'll be cutting out the front part separately, which I've already cut out the upper part. So for the back part also, we are going to be cutting it out. But before then, I'm going to draw out my scallop. So this is the shape I want it to have. So from the center, I went up by like 3 inches, and at the other side also, that side part, I also came down. I went up by 3 inches as well. So I'll just give it whatever shape I like. So feel free to do just freestyle with this. Anything you want, just do any shape of your choice. So I'll be cutting both the front and the back block together. So this is what it looks like for both the front and the back. So here is the scallop shape I have here. You can decide to make it smaller or bigger than mine. So I'm cutting whatever, the same thing I have for the back for the front. And I've also cut out the scallop shape I have here. So don't forget to remember for the front, I said I removed 6 inches. So we'll need that 6 inches later while we are cutting the off shoulder sleeve. So we'll need it to cut out the height of the sleeve. So I'm going to be notching that part. I'll mark that part of my armhole where I curve my armhole from. I'll mark it on both the front and the back. So it will be easy for me to locate where my sleeve will be coming out from. So another thing I want to do is to eliminate zipper at that back part. So the zip will not budge. So you need to eliminate some excess at that part. So what I did is on the waistline, I went in by 0.05 and I connected to the upper part and I also connected to the down part in a slant manner like this. Just to watch the way I'll be doing it. So you curve it like so and then cut it out. It's more like a banana shape. So I'm going to be cutting. If you like, you can just cut both the front and the back together. But I want my back to have my normal regular that I'm not going to be cutting it out. So I cut only the front pattern. So this is what I have here. So we are going to be notching that part in under bust part. So it will be easy for you to work with while you are cutting your bust, breast pad or while sewing it. So I've gone ahead to add my end stay to my blouse. I added a stay and I gum my stay as well as my breast pad. I did not use a breast pad for this. I just gum my breast stay and I'm going to be joining it just the way I've shown you. So I'm going to be joining both the front and the back. Sorry, I'll join both the lining piece and the main piece separately. So this is the lining part of my dress I'll join it separately. I'll measure my ball circumference divided by 2. So here is my zipper allowance. If you want at this junction, you might want to sew it down first. So you measure your ball circumference, your under ball circumference, and also the hip circumference. You repeat the same thing for the bed fabric. So after ironing it, so okay, before you at this point I've not ironed it, so you might need to iron it first. You open up the seam allowance and iron it, give it a good press. Then here is the back pattern. I am placing the back part of my main fabric and the front part together, just the way I did for the lining part. I'll check it. So I'll sew it separately because I'll be using my lining to turn everything together at once. So for the sleeve part, I have my chantilly lace here I'll be using for my sleeve, and the length I have here is about 25 inches and the height is 13 inches. I will use half inch to sew it, and also remember I said when I was cutting it, our shoulder, I removed 6 inches from my off shoulder. So that is the height I have here, about 12 inches. 6 multiplied by 2 will give me 12 plus my 1 inch for sewing allowance. So to attach this to my dress, from the that line, I will pleat it up to the armhole. For that at my armhole, I'll measure 2 inches before my armhole and 2 inches away from my armhole to the front part. That is where my pleat starts from. So I'll start pleating from my armhole 2 inches away to the back and 2 inches away to the front part. That is how I'll pleat it. Just watch what I'll be doing, guys. So I'll start from this that line, I'll pleat and I'll stop 2 inches before the armhole line. That is the joining part at the armhole. So by the time I'm done pleating, I'll turn it like this. Watch the way I'll grab it. I'll flip it like so, and I'll start pleating it again 2 inches away from the armhole, and I'll stop at the dart part for the back part of my dress. So this is what it's going to be looking like. So I am done pleating it, and here is my lining. I decided to add some boning to that side to give it a little structure at the at the side hem of my dress. So guys, I'll pin it down like this. I'll be using the lining to turn the main fabric. I'll make sure all the parts are touching each other. Make sure they align with each other. The center part also align very well. So go ahead and pin it all the way down to the side. Make sure you do not pin down the sleeve to the neckline. So I'll repeat the same thing for the back. You might want to pin it down at this point. So you sew it all the way down, and I'll turn it by the side, and here I am done.